Hello, Kimera Hashif and Jew is Mr. Joseph. Agus Falchagu Gaelic Lay Joseph. Now, last week we started talking about sending an email to a friend. We now know that to send an email is pasti. It's the word for email, pasti. And the email to a friend is pasti gu Caraid. Pasti, email. Electronic mail is past July. I was telling you last week that you can just say hello, similar to the English, or alternatively, you can use a more formal way, Caraid, which is like dia. Now, I'm writing to my friend Ian, and we went through this part last week. The part we're going to go through this week is a little bit different from the text that you may have seen last week because I've corrected it and just made it easier to read for new Gaelic learners. The first thing to know, of course, is that ha, like this, ha, is actually the present tense, and va is the past tense. Okay, so if this is showing as th, and I have my corrector on there, okay, so you can see if I, for example, just delete that and make it ha, maybe an easier way to show it, that becomes the present tense. Okay, so my point is this: va makes it the past tense. So I was in Blackpool. We have Anam Blackpool because of the B. Anan changes to Anam because of the B. And of course, generally in Gaelic, it also depends on the gender. Another big thing, and we're not going to get into too much grammar about this, but here you can see that there's a T before the word for a week. So the normal word for week with the S would be shachkin, or shechkin, some people say. But when we put the T, as we have to do in some grammatical situations, the pronunciation changes. Now, I've written the pronunciation here because of the T. It takes a ch, as in cha-cha-cha, okay? And there's a T sound at the beginning, so it's a ch, ch. You know, like when you sneeze, it's a chew. There's a little T in there somewhere. So it's ch, chachkin, chachkin. And that's what we're looking at here. Vami Anam Blackpool and Chachkin. And then I had written the word for last to show last week, but Anan in this case is actually changed to become Sa. Okay, so this becomes Sa Achai. Said quickly, Sachai. You might have come across this before if you've been following my rosary prayers. I'm sure that word pops up in the last part. And then you have the future tense, agus bimiadol. Okay, now, again, if you don't know, this is the future tense. Okay, so if it was hamiadol, it means I am a-going. But when you want to actually make the future for a future event, the present tense doesn't work. So you really have to say bimiadol in order for it to be correct. Like, in English, you can say, oh, I'm moving to, I don't know, Holland next month. Well, that doesn't work in Gaelic. You have to use the future, okay? But usually when we learn the verb adol in the present tense, we often say, oh, hami adol amu, I'm going to the shop, for example, which I suppose is fine because everyone uses it. But the future tense, for things that you're doing, you should really be using be. I guess be me adol, and I've got here to an orange, orange. An orange is the Netherlands, Holland, basically. I've written a pronunciation key down here we'll look at in a minute. An athvius. So this Lanite takes the H, otherwise, of course, the word for month would be meus, and this ath is next. And quite often they're joined with a little dash like that. Okay? Athmeus. But in this case, it's athvius because it has the H. All right. So, moving on. Vamia Fulach an Hilversum. I lived in Hilversum. I guess Stolum. Stolum, I like an orange. I like the Netherlands. Orange, the word for Holland, orange, is just like orange, but with an L sound, orange. And I'm in the next part in this email to my friend Ian, I'm saying, Cymraha Anchilach. Some people say Chalach family. How's your family? How's the family, basically? And I've signed it off with best wishes or kind regards, I think is closer to the translation. And that's Jurachge with a G sound at the end. Jurachge. And there we are. So that covers our sending an email. Let's just look at the pronunciation. So, as I was saying, sometimes in Gaelic, a T pops up. I'm not going to get into the grammar as to why it pops up. I never think there's any point in studying grammar if you're learning how to speak. What's the point? Grammar is really good if you're studying linguistics or you want to write something, but to speak, you don't really need to worry about it. But, well, we will look at it at some point, I suppose. So here, because this T comes in, this would have been something like shachgin, but the T comes in and it becomes a tche, like when you sneeze, tche. So it's chachgin, chachgin, rather than she, which is shachgin. It's tche, tchachgin, chachgin. But the T is kind of merged in with the other bit. The word for Holland, an orange, like orange, but with an L. This one for family, chillach, chillach. Best wishes, the jurach, with a soft G at the end, the jurach. And chai for last. It's like chai, but with that ch sound. Chai. So sachai when you say it fast. Right, and there we are. So that's the second part of our email to a friend. So one of the easiest ways of doing this is just saying, hello, how are you? And I tried to make this big long sentence of, I hope you're doing well, when I could just have said, how's it going? Jedol. By the way, as I mentioned last time, my computer, for whatever reason, doesn't point my accents the right way. I'll show you. If I try to write, let's say, this word here, Dorcas, which is hope, again. Okay. What happens if I try to put the accent in? It's like this. The accent's facing the wrong way, is pointing to the right, when it should be pointing to the left in Scottish Gaelic. So I need to get that fixed. So be careful of your accents. They should be pointing to the left, although I'm sure in very old manuscripts, I've seen Scottish Gaelic with accents pointing to the right, but I think that's more of an Irish Gaelic thing these days, as you can see here. I'll just highlight some of these, just so you can see that they are actually pointing to the left. These little accents, you can see there. Okay, yeah, of course. and orange as well. These accents are all pointing to the left. It's really important. Right, very good, very good. So there we are. Um, don't forget, if you like these kinds of uh, YouTube clips in Scottish Gaelic, please do like and subscribe. And that's it from me. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And that is how to send an email to a friend. Pasti, good carriage. Julian Drasta.